Warning: the following podcast, which contains strong language and mature content, is unsuitable for children or for the faint of heart. The subject matter discussed will be frightening and graphic in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
When you wanna hear about the paranormal, you get the Spooked Girls. True crime that makes you hypothermal. With the three Spooked Girls, stabby snippets will give you dreams. Tara and Jessica will make you along with the Spooked Girls. Bring on the slaughter, we on that haunted ground. Spooked Girls. The three Spooked Girls.
Hey there, Spooksters, and welcome back to another episode here on Three Spooked Girls. My name is Jessica, and as always, I'm joined by my favorite ghoul friend, Tara.
Hey, Spooksters.
Today we are going to be recapping the movie Black Christmas, the 1974 edition, or
the OG one.
The original, not the 2019 one. Tara and I had to have very specific conversations when I started looking this up. I was like, Tara, there's so many. But before that, we just want to wish everyone Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. We hope that if you are listening today on Christmas, this brings you a little bit of spooky joy in this festive time of year. And if you have plans to watch movies today, I insist that you add this into your rotation. As long as everyone in your house is okay with a little bit of horror movies.
Yes, do it.
It's amazing. But if you want to hang out with us on social media, you can do so by heading over to Facebook, Instagram, Threads, all the places. Our handle is at Three Spooked Girls. We do have an amazing group of individuals who've come together. And we created years and years ago a Facebook group, and it's just a ball of love on the internet. And if you need a place where you can kind of talk about cases or you want to talk about paranormal stuff, we are over there and we'd love to have you join us. And that handle is Three Spook Girls Official. So definitely come and join. If you want to help support the show, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/Three Spook Girls. For little as $1, you get one bonus episode each month. I'm in the middle of doing a real or not real states edition of laws. So if you live in the United States and you want to know what is a real or not real in your state, you should definitely check it out. Tara has been doing some really fun choose your adventures, and she always kind of comes up with these like super creative things for us. So definitely check them out. And if you're all caught up on Three Spooks Girls and you're like, I need more, we have like 6 years of backlog over there. And just to let you know, during the pandemic, we were a little advantageous.
We had so much more time.
Yeah, we were literally, I say this every week, we were bored in the house and in the house bored. And we turned it into a podcast material. So definitely go check that out. If you are a book lover like Tara and I, you should definitely join our book club. We have finished for the year, but January's is going to come up. I can tell you the genre. I'm not going to tell you the book yet, but I can tell you that we are going to be doing a retelling of a story, either mythology or folklore or fairy tales. We're going to do some sort of retelling. So if you love retelling books, this might be the month that you join us. Literally one Sunday afternoon a month, we get together for about a half an hour and we discuss the book and then we discuss other books. We just read The Housemaid, and we, at this point in time, Tara and I will have either gone and seen, we're going to see The Housemaid, I think like tomorrow.
The day after. Yeah.
Yeah. Though we are going to the movies today in real time. I'm excited. Bug picked our movie and we're going to go see a movie for Christmas. It's becoming our new Christmas tradition.
Yes.
So if you want to like come talk about books and things of that nature, the title of our book club is Spookster Literary Society. Also in the show notes, Tara has put together this amazing link tree that takes you everywhere. If you need to go somewhere in Three Spook Girl world, that's where we go.
Yes.
Definitely check it out. Okay. Are we ready to talk about the magnificent movie that is Black Christmas?
You're welcome. This was my pick. I am taking my credit for that. I made Jessica watch this, so I am so excited.
It's not bad. It is not a bad, it is definitely 70s coded. It is definitely cheesy horror where you're like, okay.
Right. Honestly, you just have to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we did The Wolfman and like old movies like that, you just have to accept it for the time period it is, and then you'll just have a good time. Or if you just enjoy, like, not that this was a bad horror movie, but like it gives, I think because it was in this early 70s, it does give like B horror vibes to it.
Yes.
So if you like that, you'll love this, which y'all know that's one of our favorite like subgenres. So we were here for it.
Yes. And I think like that's what you have to keep in mind in going into this, because if you try to put it up next to movies from today, or even probably the adaptations of it, its technology has like gone along.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about it. Ready? So basically the setting is like at the beginning of the movie when the pre-credits or whatever like is rolling, or I don't actually know what those are called now.
The intro?
People who are in it and like, who made it and stuff like that is playing. You see this kind of like house, which isn't necessarily right away like recognizable as a sorority house. It's just kind of like a house, but I'm going to spoil. It's a sorority house. So basically, obviously, it's the holiday season because it's called Black Christmas. So why would it not be? And it's kind of like there's two main POVs that happen throughout this movie, just so that you know. The first is going to be just kind of like average movie, like just a camera capturing life around. Then there's going to be the POV that is more of like a stalker or the killer or the bad guy's POV throughout. So it'll kind of switch back and forth. We get into the sorority house and the students are like, there's a lot of girls gone. A lot of people are preparing to leave. And it's basically kind of the last night before Christmas break, or it's like the last day of school. Christmas break is starting the next day and people are excited and they're having drinks and they're kind of having like a makeshift little party at the sorority house. And so that's happening. But then we see, while this is happening, the killer kind of like stalks around the sorority house and then ends up climbing through. It's actually so funny. I actually really enjoyed the POV of the killer because this is just some dude with a camera.
Oh my God, yeah.
There's a couple of times in the movie, like early on, he climbs up this trestle, like he's going to climb in through an attic window, but he's like climbing up the trestle and it's definitely just one hand, like climbing, and you see, because he's holding the camera with the other one. And I was like, oh, okay. It gives off very much like influencer exploring a house type situation.
Totally.
Like with the one hand that's...
Can you imagine? Someone needs to make a clip of when we have the killer's POV and do that, like the house tour song from TikTok.
Yeah. Sabrina Carpenter's song.
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be so amazing, actually. And so he basically like climbs inside the house and then we go downstairs. The girls are like kicking out all the boys. And there's another thing that happens throughout this movie is these girls, it's a big sorority, obviously, and the phone rings. And when the phone rings, it's this, they call him like the breather or the breathing pervert or whatever. He's just on the other end of the phone, like breathing. And then I think he's masturbating as well. And I think these are girls who are like in college and they assume it's a college guy, just knowing it's a bunch of sorority girls. And they're like, whatever. He's just like, it's whatever. But as it goes on, it will like increase in insanity, these calls. It starts out very like he's just having an orgasm and they hang up on him and whatnot. But we should probably introduce you to who the people are in this story. So the first character's name, the protagonist or the main character's name is Jess Bradford, which I love because as someone who goes by the name Jess, you don't really hear it a lot outside of like male characters, but it was great to see a female Jess up there. And then we don't meet, but these are just kind of the characters who are involved in this story, if this is helpful for you guys. She has a boyfriend named Peter Smythe, which every time they'd be like, Peter, I'd be like, Pia! I've also been rewatching the Hunger Games a lot lately, so those were definitely like crossing over. He's a musical student. He has like, I'm going to just say it. He's a pianist and he has this big like audition or this big like thing he has to present. And guys, he's not great.
No.
Juilliard ain't calling for him to come. He not so good. And then my favorite character in the entire movie is, her name is Barb. Barb is loud. She gets drunk a lot. She's definitely like early in the movie, her mom calls and is like, I'm going off with my boyfriend, so you're fucked for Christmas. Enjoy whatever. And so she's like, oh, I guess I'll just go like skiing with friends. And it seems like Barb has a lot of money. So it's kind of probably like, okay, guys, let's go. That kind of stuff. And then we meet Phil, or Phyllis, but we call her Phil. Phil is, fun fact for those of you who are movie buffs. She is the same actress who plays the aunt in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
I love it.
And I was like watching it and I was like, why does Phil look familiar? And I Googled it and I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Same lady, but like a totally normal person. She's kind of the mom of the group. You can tell like she wants to make sure everyone's safe. She's like kind of the first person to catch that the first person who's not there, who like dies, who we'll talk about in a second, is like missing. And the first person who goes missing is a girl by the name of Clare Harrison. And we will meet Claire's dad in a little bit. He comes into play. And then probably my second favorite character in this movie is Mrs. Mack. She's the house mother. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. She is inappropriate. She is an alcoholic to the extreme. Like, think like back in the day when they would like joke about someone being an alcoholic, like hiding alcohol everywhere. This was truly that joke. She had hid alcohol in the back of the toilet.
Right. Yeah.
Like in the tank of the toilet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like the girls are clearly drinking downstairs. So basically what ends up happening is Claire and the group of people, they start really talking. And after the phone call, Barb kind of makes a comment about Claire, like being a virgin, I believe. And I don't know if Claire is a virgin or if she's just offended that somebody thought she was, but she goes and storms upstairs because she's like, fuck you guys, into her giant ass room by herself in the sorority. She shares room. No one shares a room in this sorority house. She goes upstairs and she's like packing her clothes. And while she's like taking stuff out of her closet, like the camera kind of pans to this, like what I perceive to be like a dry cleaning bag hanging there. And she hears a noise and she turns around and the killer is behind the dry cleaning bag and he suffocates her with it and then puts her in a rocking chair, which I assumed was in her room. But then later on, we find out is actually in the attic. And he puts like a teddy bear or a doll in her hand. It's very fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And so he takes her up there and here's the fucking crazy thing. Her body can be seen from the street.
Right. This whole movie, I'm like, how is no one going upstairs to the attic?
Terrible police work.
What the actual fuck? You're supposed to clear the entire house and you obviously did not.
Right.
Or this movie would have been a lot shorter.
It would have been like, we found Claire immediately.
Literally.
So the next day, the sorority is doing like a charity event with like a fraternity who they had hung out with some of the guys the night before. It was a big thing and they were all like hungover and blah, blah, blah. Well, Mr. Harrison, who was Claire's dad, was supposed to meet her at like the front gate and Claire doesn't show up. So as like this is happening, he asked like, do you guys know who Claire Harrison is? And they're like, oh, her sorority is doing an event over there. She goes over there. Phil and Barb are there and they're like, oh no, we don't know where she's at. We thought she left because she got upset. And everyone is like, where the fuck is she? So they decide, okay, we need to report her missing. So Mr. Harris and the girls, they literally like call over the phone. They're like, yeah, she's probably off with her boyfriend. Later on, they go to the police station, but her boyfriend is this like hockey star. And Barb goes and gets him. And then he goes with them to the police station to report her missing. And they say to the boyfriend, oh, she probably ran off with her boyfriend. And he's like, but I'm the boyfriend. And then they were like, oh, the police really had zero interest in looking for Claire. So the police are like obviously setting themselves up to be terrible. They come to the house. They look in Claire's room. That's it. That's actually when I discovered that Claire wasn't in her room. Because I was like, oh, they actually went there. But like, they don't search the house at all. There's no top to bottom sweep. Like, the fact that there's an attic and a basement in this house and nobody is checking either of them is fucking insane. At the same time, Jess is having a kind of a life crisis. She has realized that she is pregnant and she has dreams and plans and she doesn't want to give up her dreams and plans. And at first I thought this was in the US, but apparently this is a Canadian school. I was not aware. So it was interesting though, because this movie came out in 1973 or 1974. And in 1973, Roe versus Wade happened. So
Yeah.
this is kind of a big fucking deal to be like, okay, we're going to talk about abortion in a holiday movie.
Right. I was honestly so fucking shocked.
I was like, okay, this is this director's like way of making it super relevant for the time being. This is like edginess.
Mm-hmm.
I am pro-choice. I just want everyone to like know that there's no like, oh my God, she's shaming. I'm not doing that at all. It just, the time period, I was like, wow, this is kind of brave of a moment.
Oh, for sure.
There were some big ass feelings out there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Jess has told Peter about the baby and he's like, the baby, we can't get rid of the baby. It's a very theme for Peter the whole time.
Yeah.
And he like at first is kind of upset that they're pregnant, but like, it's like, okay. And Jess is like, I can't keep this baby. Like I have plans. I have things to do with my life. I just can't. Peter is like, we will talk about this later. And Jess is like,
No, we won't.
there's nothing to talk about. Like, it's my choice.
Mm-hmm.
He goes and does his little like piano recital and he fucks it up like huge.
Royally.
Like it is, when I tell you that I'm like, who let this man into college to play piano?
Literally awful.
Were there no other pianist in the entirety of Canada?
He was the only one. He was the only one that applied.
It was like one hand was good and the other hand was like, I'm in my own world. I was like, this is terrible. I was like, oh God.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets really upset and he like, there's a baby grand piano that he's, mind you, at first I was like, oh my God, he destroyed his piano. It's not even his fucking piano. It's the school's piano. He takes a mic stand and like these old ass mic stands. Like if you're today, you're like, oh, mic stands aren't that heavy. No, this was like the ones that had the big metal bottoms that like were discs. And he was like beating the shit out of it. So he and Jess keep having these like big conversations and she's like, I don't want to talk about it. And he's like, let me come over. And she's like, leave me alone. But also around the same time, the phone calls start escalating. And this is where we are introduced to the caller doing a couple different voices. And the caller is referred to as Billy. And then there's a person in the background named Agnes. And so he's doing his perverted like masturbating thing. Agnes is yelling for, it's a whole thing. Like, I don't even really know how to explain this, but
It's a lot.
it's a lot. And they start like yelling and everything. Barb doesn't make this any better. She antagonizes the guy. He probably feels very emasculated, which is not her problem. But like, also like, dude, why the fuck are you calling a sorority house?
Fucking weirdo.
Very weird. The police now are like super involved and we have a new police officer that we kind of like. I give him like a C+ effort.
Mm-hmm.
For this.
Yeah.
His name is Lieutenant Fuller and he is like starting to investigate and they're like, we need to track the phone call. So this is happening at this time. Also, Barb has gotten shit-faced.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just super drunk to the point she's like talking with Mr. Harrison and like blah, blah, blah. Also, I have missed something. Mrs. Mack is like, I have to go. Like the police are involved. Everything like this is happening. She's like, I have to go. I'm catching a train to my sister's.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, one of your sorority girls has gone missing and you're just gonna get a little tipsy and
Dip out?
peace out. So she's like doing something and she ends up in the basement. And when she's in the basement, she comes across essentially the killer. He kills her. He stabs her. Then he literally hangs her up in the attic.
Yep. Puts her up with the other one.
So Miss Mack is like standing there staring at her.
Uh-huh.
And then Claire is like kind of propped in the chair. And I think the window is open in the attic. So it's like they're slowly freezing because it's Canadian winter.
Right.
But mind you, from the street, you can see Claire.
Exactly. You can literally see her the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Every time they pan back to the house, you just see Claire like sitting.
Yep. In the window.
So basically, they're like looking around for her and they need to do a trace. But also what ends up happening is simultaneously to this happening, a young girl in the community, like they're at a park or she's walking through a park and the little girl goes missing. Basically, the little girl is killed and found in the park. So there are men and women out looking around for this little girl and they're doing search parties because they're also looking for Claire. Like I said, Mrs. Mack dies. And then they're all there. Mr. Harris is at the sorority house. Barb is super drunk. So Phil, being the woman who is the sorority, like the mom friend of the group, takes her upstairs, puts her to bed, whatever. She has a beautiful unicorn, like crystal unicorn. And it's like right above her bed. So they're like, oh my God, Barb's asleep. We're really worried. They keep wanting to trace the call in the house. So this was like an old school trace. So they have the detectives bring someone from the phone company in. They set up a tap on the line downstairs. And mind you, this is the moment that they say in the movie, there are 2 phone lines in this house. But this is the only line he calls on. And they don't think to fucking tap the line upstairs.
Right? I'm like, why would you only do one?
Half-assing.
Right? Half-ass the whole time.
The whole time. And so they're like, Jess keeps being the one to answer the phone. I don't know if she was like assigned phone duty because like every time the phone would ring, people would be closer to the phone, but Jess would pick it up. And I was like, is that a thing?
Maybe.
It's your week to answer phones. They're doing all of this. While this is happening, there's a phone call that comes in. That happens. They're all freaking out. They're on the phone with Lieutenant Fuller, who's at his desk at the police station. Now we switch to the POV of the killer who goes into Barb's room and sees her. She actually like screams and they run in and she's like, I had a dream that someone was like going to attack me. And they're like, go to sleep, Barb. And they like pat her like, you drunk bitch. Like that's pretty much how they treat her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, your friend is missing and a little girl was murdered and you guys know all of this, but your friend wakes up and is like, so I thought someone was in my room. And your first thing is to be like, Barb's a drunk.
Like maybe look just in case she was awake. Like, no, okay.
Yeah. So then they put her back to sleep. They leave. The killer comes out and stabs her to death with her unicorn.
Yeah, damn it.
Which as a unicorn lover, I was like, man.
I know.
But I kind of want that unicorn now. At this point in time, if there's an escalation that's happening with Peter and Jess. He's like, has to get kicked out of the house because here's the thing. Jess and them come home. And Peter is in the house.
Right. And no one questions it.
No one questions it. They unlocked the door to come inside.
And he's just there.
And he's there.
Yep.
And they're like, well, it's actually just her. She's like, Peter. And they start talking and they have this whole discussion about how she cannot kill the baby, how this is not fair. Like, it's basically about him. Like, he's like telling her, like, I know you want this. This is what you want. You're just afraid to admit it. And she's like, no, this isn't what I want. And he's like, I know you want to have children with me. And she's like,
I don't.
No. And I think like this is the moment where Peter is like, what the fuck is like wrong with her? Like, how does she not want me? But he's like, fine, whatever, I'm getting the fuck out. And so he leaves. But this is like, he crosses paths with like Phil, the cops and people like that. So at this point, the cops are, you know, like everyone's in the place that they should be. The girls are in the house. Barb is dead. Things like that. It's just Phil and it's just Phil and what's her face now? Just Phil and Jess in the house. And Phil is like upstairs and she's like, look, she goes into Claire's room and she doesn't see anything. But then she notices that there is the attic and it's a little like askew. And so she's like, shit, I'm going to go into Barb's room. So she goes into Barb's room to be like, oh my God, Barb. And then finds Barb murdered. Murder.
Dead.
And then gets murdered in Barb's room as well.
Yes.
So this basically means that like Jess is the only one in the house and the calls are escalating and things like that are happening. And basically they are able to track the call. Because mind you, the tracking for this, they have the bug in the house. There's a dude just running around a giant warehouse, quote, tracking this call. I don't know how he did it. Like, I don't understand this. So someone who worked for the phone company in the 70s used to explain it to me. But he was like just walking down these rows of things and like ended up in a place. And they're like, oh my God. Basically what happens is they trace it to, it basically Mrs. Mack's number from the other room upstairs. And they're like, the call's coming from inside the house. And I was like, oh no. And then I had to be like, I didn't look it up. But in my mind, I was like, is this where this line originated? And they made a whole movie after it. Don't recall. I don't remember. But Lieutenant Fuller is not close. He's gone to the conservatory. He sees the piano broken up. He's like, it's Peter. Peter's the murderer. And he's like, okay. He radios in when they get the news that the call's coming from inside the house. So he calls Sergeant Nash, who's working the front desk. And he goes, listen, I need you to call and tell Jess to get the fuck out of that house. But here's the caveat. You cannot tell her that the killer is inside the house. He's like, listen, Sergeant Nash, you better not fuck this up. Sergeant Nash fucks it up.
Of course he does.
So he calls, Jess answers the phone, and he's like, Jess, I need you to leave. And she's like, well, Barb and Phil are upstairs. And he's like, you need to get out of the house. You need to just get up and walk out. We will take care of them. You need to get out of the house. And she's basically like, I'm not leaving without my friends, which, you know, respect.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know they're dead. So she just thinks they're upstairs. And he's like, Jess, the call is coming from inside the house. And so she's like, what? So then she goes to leave, but then she's yelling for Phil and Barb. She's like, Phil, Barb, answer me. They're not answering her.
Because they did.
They did. You don't know that they did, but like, I think after you've yelled for them and they have not responded, you have the right to leave. I'm giving everyone out there who can hear my voice the permission if they're ever in this situation. You can leave. You don't have to go and investigate.
Yeah.
You yelled for them. Nobody came.
Self-preservation. Yes. Go. Get out.
Yeah. She does not. She goes upstairs. She sees that her friends are dead in Barb's bedroom. She's like, no. So she's like running out. She like basically is confronted by Peter, who's outside and is like, let me in. And she's like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And she starts running away. They end up in the basement together and he breaks into the basement.
Right.
He like breaks a window. Because, like, he actually, I think, got in the house. He was in the house for a little bit, and then, or the killer was in the house. I'm not quite sure. So, basically, what ends up happening is they're in the basement, and they're having this fight, and Jess kills Peter.
Bye, Peter.
And I love this moment because the blood that they use is basically paint. It's like fluorescent paint.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so gross and tacky looking. And I was like, that's not real. And the police get there. They assume that Peta is the murderer and that Jess is like passed out. And I guess they quote sedate her or something. But here's the other weird thing. They haul the bodies out. They haul Peta out because he's dead. They put Jess in her room upstairs and just turn the light off.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, we'll be back for you later. Hang tight. Have fun being by yourself. Mm-hmm. No one around you.
Now, here's where Tara and I are going to have a dialogue about this because I don't know the truth here. According to research that I've done, is that Peter isn't the killer.
Because the phone rings.
Because the phone rings.
Right.
But the killer, like, set Peter up, or Peter just kind of, like...
snapped?
Came at a bad moment.
Yeah.
But according to... let's be honest, it's according to the wiki.
The internet.
Yeah. Is that the killer is still alive. Basically, the camera drifts up to the attic where you can see Claire in the rocking chair, and it is rocking because the wind from the window. And basically, at this point, we hear the killer mutter like the fragments that he was saying on the phone. And then the phone rings again, but the house remains silent. I was like, oh, okay. They did all that and they didn't even catch the killer.
No, they didn't. I think originally they were probably hoping there would be a sequel shortly after, because that is like a classic setup for that. Or if you think about it, that is a way to do like a kind of like a mindfuck type of ending where you're like, oh my God, they did get him. They got it. And then you're at the end and then you see it's, you know, there's still a killer out there. But since there was more than one person, it's like, what if it was Peter and Peter was whoever the fuck Agnes was? Maybe there was a group of them. I think it's supposed to be open-ended like that. So that way it does make people like think about it and talk about it.
Oh, for sure. It was a good movie. I mean, it's very 70s coded, so be prepared for like weird plot holes that they don't care to explain. Because like, let's be honest, that was that era of time. They were like,
right.
It just happens. Even in the 70s, if a girl went missing on a campus and the parent was there, the school would have stepped in because for liability reasons. I'm pretty sure police would have checked the attic and the basement.
Oh, for sure.
There would have been not just like an undercover cop's. Oh, yeah, because there was an undercover cop, but he gets killed. I also kind of think that there's a scene that happens with like Phil and Jess. It's really fucking weird. I'm going to be honest. They're listening to the phone. They're having this whole thing. The police tell them to like keep the doors locked. Don't let people in. And then these like two dudes knock on the back door. And just like the way that they are acting is so fucking weird in this moment, because Phil and Jess are like joking around, kind of making fun of the dudes. It's very like, oh yeah, you're looking for the missing girl. Didn't they find her dead? Like, it's very weird.
It was weird. Yeah.
Out of pocket.
Yeah.
But part of me thinks that could these two men have been
part of it?
The killers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I have kind of, my theory is that the girl was killed by the killer, the little girl in the park, to distract them.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really like meant to pull police force away from the sorority house.
I agree.
And this gave them better access and everything. But it was truly, if we're rating the police department in this small Canadian college town, they get an F.
Negative 100.
It's like they put one dude in plain clothes out in front of the house and he dies, of course. I'm like, he leaves his window down.
Right.
One, it is like 32 degrees out. Like,
yeah, no self-preservation either with any of this.
No. Thank God this happened in the 1970s, because this would not have flown in 2025. But I think this is kind of that era of movies where we really saw, like, I really like a killer POV, like a killer's POV. Like, I like the whole cheesy, the camera's attacking someone. And I mean, this movie, like, probably at the time was at the height of technology.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But now looking back on it,
over 50 years.
50 years later, 51 years later, you're like, oh.
Right.
That is
a choice.
That's a choice, and that's cheesy. But you know that camera operator whose hand is in it the whole time? He's just like
having so much fun.
He's like, this is amazing. You know what I got to do today? I got to film myself climbing a ladder.
Yeah.
So I did like it. It's very cheeseball in my mind. You can watch it on Tubi. If you don't have a Tubi subscription, we don't have a code or anything because Tubi's free. You just watch like the ads.
Yeah.
Tubi's amazing.
Love Tubi. They have so many good movies, and they have so many good old movies, and then a lot of like indie movies or like lower budget ones. I have a bunch of cheesy holiday horror type of movies saved to my list that I'm going to watch, so I'm really excited. Huge Tubi stan. Definitely, if you're not watching stuff on there, I don't know what you're doing.
Tara and I were like on the phone and we were talking about the Hunger Games, but we were talking about the actors from the Hunger Games because we were like talking about Jennifer Lawrence, how she just kind of like appeared out of nowhere. And I was like, oh yeah, like it was like she was a mascot on Monk in one episode, and then she was the star of a movie. But apparently she had been in like a TV show for like 3 seasons. All episodes of this show had put out, she was in. And I was like, oh, I wonder where you could watch it, because it's the Bill Engvall show. And I was like, I wonder where you can watch this. And I was on Tubi. So I watched some. It's very cheesy as well. But if you have not checked out Tubi, I co-sign it.
Yeah, for sure.
But with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's Christmas episode. We hope you enjoy it, and we hope that you are having a fantastic, wonderful holiday season. And we will see you next time. Toodles.
Bye.